Hello everyone, my name is Robbo, and I am back with another Pokemon solo run. Now last time I did it with Flareon, and I was pretty happy with the time we got there. This time we're going on to Vaporeon, so I'm going to be doing each of the Eeveelutions first, and we're going to see which one can do it the fastest. So, the rules for this challenge are quite simple. I can't use items in battle, so I couldn't use, say, a full restore in the middle of a battle against Lance. But I can use them outside of battle, and I'm also allowing the use of held items like berries, the pink bow, things like that, to at least make it a little fair. I think if I didn't have some of the items, this would take a lot longer. But those are the main rules. I will have HM users, obviously, to get around the map, because I can't make it without them, but I can't use them in battle. And if my Pokemon dies, say, to self-destruct, I would have to basically restart it, even if I did have the others still conscious, because they're not technically part of the challenge. That actually brings me to an interesting point as to why I'm always starting at night. Every run through you see, it starts at night. That's because at the beginning of the game you can get Polywrath, which is the best HM user you can get. It can learn Surf, Waterfall and Whirlpool. So I started on a Sunday night at 6 o'clock because I can actually, 1, get Polywag and 2, get Return in the same day, so that's pretty nice. But those are the rules. I record this before I do the run, so I can give an honest opinion of what I think. I think Vaporeon will probably be the best out of all of them, in all honesty. Water types are very good in runs like this because water moves are great. Surf is a fantastic move, and I get that before the 4th gym. So Vaporeon has got such an advantage over the others. A lot of people seem to be thinking Jolteon or Espeon, but I do personally think that Vaporeon will do it. But with all that intro out of the way, we'll get on to the first gym battle against Faulkner. Alright, so prior to fighting Faulkner, I actually beat every trainer possible to get him extra levels onto Vaporeon. The reason being, Flareon has a great attack stat, which gave it an advantage. I only had to beat 2 of the Bellsprout Tower trainers with Flareon, and was able to beat this easy. Now, my strategy for this battle is very, very complex. You see, what you do is you hover over Tackle, and you press the A button until it dies, until everything dies. That's it's a very in-depth strategy. I think you guys need to take notes, actually. You know, it's very difficult to pull off. So yeah. You know, keep pressing that A. It can be hard, you can miss it, you know. You can accidentally hit that B button and go back. But if you just keep hitting A, keep hitting those tackles, you'll win in no time. In all seriousness, guys, this battle, there's very little tactics behind it, no matter which Pokemon I'm going to be using. Possibly Jolteon will be a bit harder, because its attack stat sucks and it doesn't have much to compensate for it at this point. But apart from that, no. I won't actually be teaching Mud Slap, I don't think, to Vaporeon either, because it doesn't really need it. The others kind of do to deal with rock and ground types, but Vaporeon won't be requiring that. But anyway, thanks to our masterful use of the A button and Tackle, we have our first gym badge, and next we're off to go fight Bugsy, I guess. Now, being completely honest, I was quite worried about Bugsy. It's the Scyther can do quite a bit of damage if it can start racking up those Fury Cutters, but at this point I was level 19 and I had Water Gun, so it gave me quite an advantage with Vaporeon. I've got a great HP stat with Vaporeon as well, so I was pretty confident going into this. I was quite worried that Kakuna was going to poison me, but luckily it didn't get a chance to attack. If this was Gen 4, this would be harder. Bugsy is more difficult with U-Turn than Fury Cutter, but could still prove to be a problem, and will be for Espeon and Umbreon. But as you can see, Vaporeon dealt with it with very little difficulty. I wasn't that surprised, but I still saved before Bugsy because I was a little bit worried. After this, I've got the rival fight, so we'll get right onto that, since Bugsy fell down pretty damn easy. Now, Rival 2, this is once again the only rival battle I will show. It's the only one you got a chance of losing, because I deliberately make this as hard as possible. Silver here has Meganium, or not, it will be Meganium at the end, but it's Bayleaf at this point. And it's the hardest one for Vaporeon to deal with. But because we've got such great HP and a good special defense stat, it shouldn't be that bad. Flareon obviously dealt with Croconaw pretty easy, but that was a combination of good special defense and a good attack stat. I don't honestly have as much going for me with Vaporeon, so I was just kind of testing out my moves to see which one did the most damage. There didn't seem to be a lot of difference in it, and Bayleaf has an irritating likelihood of using Reflect. Luckily, we got a couple of misses from Bayleaf, and we get through that by the skin of our teeth. I don't like relying on misses, but at this stage I kind of have to, because I don't want to power level, because then the rest of the game's just a joke. But with Bayleaf out the way, Zubat falls soon after. And now we've got a free pass until we get to Whitney, which should be quite interesting this time, in comparison to the Flareon run, which kind of made it look a bit easier than it probably should have been. So here she is, the bane of many a Gen 2 player, Whitney. Her Clefairy is no threat. It basically gets sneezed on and dies. It's the Miltank that worries. Also, fun fact to see there, I got hit with Thunder, so that was quite nice. I didn't get very good luck with Metronome there. Usually, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been worse in all honesty, so I should probably take solace in that. But this is basically the first run I do. If I don't win it, it's basically a practice to see if I could do it with the right set of circumstances. Unfortunately, in this one, it's not gone that well for me. Even with me lowering accuracy, it's still hitting moves. It hit me with Infatuation as well with the Attract, so that really makes it difficult. Infatuation is probably the worst status effect in all of Pokemon, just because it feels a lot more than 50-50. And with Miltank using Milk Drink, which is a horrifying thought when you think of how it gets milk. But, yeah, this one was definitely going to be a loss. Just because Infatuation kept screwing me over, and then obviously it not missing as much as it probably should have done. Now, that happened 3 more times, and honestly, I was very, very close to just saying, sod it, let's go and beat all the other trainers around here. But I'm really determined to not overgrind to do this. I want to do this at lower levels as possible without using stuff like Double Team. I don't like the fact that that brings a bit too much randomness into this. And the thing is, I knew that I could win this battle if the right circumstances went my way. If the dominoes lined up, I could do it. It was just a case of getting that right combination of Miltank misses and me hitting and not getting sort of hit with Attract. Now, luckily, I did get a bit of luck on that one, but you know what? I'm going to take it against Whitney. Any other gym leader? Probably not, but Whitney. Nah, I'll take it. Also, Whitney once again showing what a great loser she is. As she cries until... I mean, she's a better loser than Claire. We'll give her that. She's not as bad a loser as Claire, but for what that's worth, I don't know. But now that we've got probably the most irritating gym leader out of the way, let's head on to Morty. Right, so this was probably the gym battle I was most confident about. I've beaten the Kimono girls to get Surf, so now I've got a level 28 Vaporeon that has a base 95 move. That's pretty devastating, so I was pretty confident I could knock out everything apart from Gengar in one shot, and because of my massive health stat, I wasn't worried about Gengar knocking me out. So this was, like I say, I had no fear for this one. Same as Jasmine, I won't. Chuck will be irritating, but apart from that, until I get to the Elite Four, there's nothing that I'm worried about in this game at this point. It's laughable how Gen 2 is very weird. The early game can be quite difficult, and then you get this easy spell, and then the end of sort of Johto can get a bit more difficult, and then you got the ease of Kanto until Red. It's hilarious, really. But I love it. And there we go, that's Morty defeated in basically 10 seconds as I just hit Surf over and over again. Now, that should be the easiest gym, because next we've got Chuck, and that probably won't be quite as fun. Now, the thing that makes Chuck kind of irritating is not his Primeape. His Primeape is easy, that's a 2-shot with Surf, and it can't really do anything in response. The problem is the Polywrath. It has Mind Reader and Dynamic Punch, and if you don't know what that means, Mind Reader means that you basically hit no matter what next time, and Dynamic Punch confuses you when it hits you. Now, my only real strategy going into this was Headbutt Flinch. and just hope that I could kill it before it dynamic punches me. Unfortunately, it put me to sleep. That was irritating, but it kind of didn't affect anything at that point, as you see. That was a lot easier than it had any right to be honest. Considering I struggled with Flareon on that one, I mean, I should have done. It was a fire type, but still. It took me a lot longer to beat that one with Flareon than it did with Vaporeon. Also, can we just say how sorry I feel for Chuck? That's his wife out there, and she basically says that he's fat and lazy. Just like, yeah, that's exactly what your husband needs to hear after he got beaten by a 10-year-old in his Vaporeon. So after getting the secret potion and giving it to the Ampharos in the Light Tower, Jasmine will return to her gym so we can get our 6th gym badge. Now, this is another easy gym. We basically hit the A button. It's a very complicated strategy that I've developed over the course of this, you see. You put Surf at the top, and you keep pressing A, and everything dies. So, yeah. Real complicated strats required in the Vaporeon run. I actually had to think a bit for the Flareon one, but Vaporeon's pretty brain dead by comparison. So, Jasmine falls. The next step is to go and deal with Team Rocket, and then get our 7th badge from Price over in Mahogany Town. So dealing with Team Rocket took no time whatsoever. I thought I'd just leave the sliding in here for anybody who doesn't know how to get to Price quickly. But yeah, Team Rocket's a joke in this game. I included it in the Flareon run. If you want to hear what I say about them, look at that. But there's no point in me adding it here. You kill them easily and then you get to the next gym. So Vaporeon, I couldn't actually go with my tried and trusted strategy. I couldn't actually just keep hitting A and win against the Seals. I had to actually use a different move. I had to use Bite, and luckily I got a crit, so that dealt with Seal pretty easy. Dugong is bulkier, but I'm a level 37 Vaporeon, so I've got nothing to really worry about until it uses Rest, but luckily, because we get the flinch, it doesn't get the chance, and Piloswine will come out next and just get one shot with Surf. This run was honestly rather dull at this point. Don't get me wrong, it was fun to a degree, but Vaporeon is so good that it just demolished everything. Which I knew it would, and that's why from the beginning it was the Pokemon that I'd tipped to win this challenge, just because Water is such a good type and Vaporeon is a great Pokemon. So, with our 7th badge in hand, Professor Oak tells us there's crazy shit going on at the Goldenrod radio tower, so we go there because, you know, the world relies on 10-year-olds to fix all of its problems with evil crime bosses. So yeah, that was another fun little detour. With the minor inconvenience that is Team Rocket dealt with, we now head to Claire for our 8th gym badge. I just healed up before this battle. I had no real need to go back to a Pokemon Center. I saved more through sort of habit than need. This isn't a tough gym battle for Vaporeon. I have Aurora Beam to deal with her dragons, and Kingdra just isn't good enough to take me down. I was level 47 at this point, which, funnily enough, that's about the same level that I went into this with Flareon. So that's kind of funny that I sort of had both Eeveelutions. One of them's been a lot easier than the other, and yet they're both getting into these gyms at around the same sorts of levels. So that was pretty cool. I liked that. Vaporeon had actually pulled a little bit of a lead at this point. Not much, actually. Surprisingly enough, Flareon hadn't actually sort of fallen that far behind. So I was quite surprised. But as you can see, Vaporeon is just really not struggling here. Getting that attack drop was quite nice, but not needed. It's not a challenge for Vaporeon. But like I say, it was always my favourite for this very reason. That there was only going to be a few battles where I wasn't that confident. But it is, like I say, it's quite interesting that Vaporeon was at the same level as Flareon when they beat Claire. But Claire is beaten, and now because she's an awful loser, she won't give us our badge. Because she's just an awful person, I guess. And we once again are forced to go to the Dragon's Lair and play 20 questions with a bunch of old gits to see if we are worthy to get a badge. To Claire's absolute shock, we get the badge and we get access to the Elite Four. Now, I go into the battle with Will 2 levels lower than I went in with Flareon. Now, if you remember from the Flareon run, I actually had to go and train until it was about level 58. I had to go and get 7 more levels before I could actually do the Elite Four, as I got beaten on my first run. So going in with Vaporeon at level 49 could be risky. But I've got the moves to deal with Will very easily. We have Aurora Beam, which is great ice, and then I've got Shadow Ball as well. So I was pretty covered. I didn't actually one-shot the Executor there, which was surprising. I thought Vaporeon would manage it, but not quite. And we hit level 50. Now, when I ended the Elite Four with Flareon, when I beat it, I was level 61. So Vaporeon is probably going to be about 7 levels ahead if it can deal with the rest of the Elite Four this easily. Which isn't surprising. Vaporeon has got a much better type matchup for this. And because Flareon's got such trash special attack, some of the battles they're not that hard, they're just a bit rough without having a good flamethrower. Like, Return was 9 times out of 10 the best move to use, so... At least with Vaporeon here, I got to use a little bit of variety. When Flareon did it, it was just Shadow Ball constantly. But Will drops pretty easy. Will was never really going to be much of a challenge with Shadow Ball and Aurora Beam. We had more than enough type coverage. I heal Vaporeon there just, again, more through habit. I'm not that scared of Koga either. The only thing that's really going to cause problems is Crobat, and that's only if it poisons us. Everything else will be dealt with pretty swiftly. By the way, I run through the Elite Four in one shot and show it all just because I don't want to save between battles. Much like I said earlier with Double Team, I don't want it to be down to luck. When it comes to the Elite Four, I want it to be all the way through, so I can beat them all in one and not have to rely on, say, getting a certain amount of crits, a move missing, them not using a certain move. You know what I mean? At least this way I can prove that it's doable all in one, and I don't need to reset to get optimal scenarios. I know for some of the gym leaders I did, but that's because it's a straight battle, and I don't want to... For a lot of them, I would get XP for beating one of their Pokemon, and I didn't want that. Because that would just be an easy way to grind up levels. And I don't want to grind to an insane level just because I hit a bit of a roadblock at one point. I did get a crit on Crobat, which honestly didn't change anything. We took no damage in that battle. But I did heal after Will just to be safe. Bruno will not be a challenge. He's got nothing that can really do too much to us. His Hitmontop that he leads with doesn't even have a fighting move. Its only attacking move is Dig. That's all it's got, I think. Well, it might have another one. It might have Swift or something, but Dig is what it always uses. And that's kind of annoying because I outspeed, so I have to waste a power point, basically, which is not good in a solo run. You never want to waste power points, but unfortunately I had to there. But like I said, there's nothing on his team that can really hurt me. Not significantly. Vaporeon is a monster. It's probably my favourite Eeveelution. Just because it's so dependable. Like, no matter the scenario, even if you're against an electric gym leader, you could probably rely on Vaporeon taking a couple hits and putting some decent damage out. You can't say that for, say, Flareon against a water gym in most scenarios. I just feel like Vaporeon is a very dependable Pokemon. And Bruno is just dropping like a fly here. I don't learn Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump has only got 5 PP and it's not the most accurate move. And I have Surf. Surf is more than sufficient for what Vaporeon will be doing. I will give Bruno one thing. He is a lot more difficult in this than he is in Red and Blue. But, I mean, having a sword fight with my Nan would be more difficult than beating Bruno in Red and Blue. So, with him defeated, I heal up again. Because he actually did significant damage to me, mostly because of his Machamp hitting me with a cross chop. Now, this is the irritating one, and it is for most runs, in all honesty. Karen is just annoying. She has this just fetish for lowering your accuracy and then raising her evasion. And then sending out her Gengar to curse and hypnosis you, so it's not fun. It actually got a fail on the Sand Attack there, which I was quite grateful for, because we actually got a damage range and knocked it out. Vileplume comes out, and Aurora Beam makes quick work of most of its HP, and unfortunately does paralyze me, which isn't ideal, but it does mean that I can't be put to sleep by Gengar, so that is something I've got going my way. Gengar's the only threat. If it uses Curse, we could be in a bit of trouble. Luckily it goes for Lick, and since we're already paralysed, that can't paralyse us twice. That would be kind of interesting if it could, though. You've only got a 25% chance of attacking then. But Vaporeon here is just proving that it doesn't have the best special attack of all the ones doing this, or the best attack either, you know. But because it's so bulky, it kind of doesn't need it. Like, it can afford to take a couple hits. I did get very lucky with paralysis in this one, though. I will say that. I didn't suffer from it at all, and Gengar didn't curse me. So that battle could have gone either way, in all honesty. But, you know, I got the luck in that one. I did get a little bit of luck, but like I say, I've gone through all of these in a row, so you're going to get a bit of luck in a couple of the battles, which is why I'm more than happy to keep going with this one. I've got Lance next. Nothing really scares me with Lance. He leads with a Gyarados, which will set up a Rain Dance, and he does have a Dragonite that has Thunder, and that's about the only thing that's really scary on his team. His Dragonites won't be able to kill me. His Charizard certainly can't, and his Aerodactyl could be irritating with its Rock Slide, because Aerodactyl is fast. But surprisingly, I actually outsped the Gyarados. I wasn't honestly sure what to go with on it. I went with the Aurora Beam, just type neutral. And he hit a Hyper Beam, which basically gave me a free turn to finish it off. And now we just begin the slaughtering of the dragons. So, one dragon. No, I'm not going to do the Vanguard, the count thing. That would be dumb. Certainly coming from me. But yeah, we just sweep the dragons aside. It honestly isn't a tough battle for Vaporeon. I've got everything stacked in my favour for this battle. Like, 5 of his Pokemon are either double weak to ice or weak to water. So we just clear through them easy. And that's the Johto Elite Four. As you can see, much easier than the Flareon run. Done 7 less levels as well. Flareon was level 61 at the end of the battle with Lance. Vaporeon's only going to be level 54. That says a lot, really, about a combination of their types and their stab moves and the access to them. That's all. That's the big difference between the two. If I had Flare Blitz or something like that on Flareon, it would make a difference if this was Gen 4, say. Actually, you don't get Flare Blitz on Flareon until Gen 5, I believe, so even Gen 4 wouldn't work. But it does just show how important having those stab moves are for some of these Pokemon. Vaporeon has slaughtered it. I think Vaporeon at this point was... I think Vaporeon had taken about a 30-minute lead at this point. Don't quote me on that, actually. I should have probably looked that up before I started writing the script, but I think it was about that. But Flareon had taken such an advantage early on by being able to take on Faulkner early. So Vaporeon has actually caught up a lot more than just getting a 30-minute lead. It's sort of like another 20-minute as well. So that kind of says a lot about Vaporeon, just how easy Johto was for her. By the way, the Eevee is only in my party just because I accidentally went to Bill and picked it up. That was it. It's not carrying an HM or anything, but it's in the Hall of Fame. Ah, Kanto. While I do have very fond memories of Gen 2, it will always be my favourite generation. Kanto in Gold, Silver, Crystal really is a disappointment. They didn't even make it that much better in the remakes either. The problem is the levels, you know. They're all weaker than the champion we just beat, and they had to be stronger. They had to make them stronger. Because even if I wasn't doing a solo run, you could still sweep through these guys pretty simply. I do appreciate them putting Kanto in there, and even giving Kanto its own little mini storyline with the power plant having the sort of piece stolen by Team Rocket. I do appreciate that. I think that's quite cool. But in a way, I wish they'd have sacrificed Kanto to have a stronger Johto. Either that or just make Kanto stronger. If you added 10 levels onto a lot of these gym leaders, it would make a big difference. I mean, the daughter of Koga down there, I mean, you need to add like 20 levels onto hers because she's absolute trash, but we're dealing with Sabrina right now, after quickly finishing Surge before. There's just nothing that's a threat until we get to Blue. Like I say, I do love Gen 2, It's just this part of it feels too easy. Add 10 levels, it's suddenly a different game, but I do appreciate the effort. I do just wish that either have put a harder difficulty curve here or made Johto harder, because Johto is just very strange in that you start off really sort of struggling a bit, and then you beat Whitney and it's sort of like easier, and then you hit Claire, which can be a bit difficult depending upon what Pokemon you're using, and then the Elite Four can cause some problems, and then Kanto, you go all the way back down to base form easy. Blue sort of raises the bar, and then Red just takes the bar and beats you over the head with it, because it's just such a big jump. But regardless, like I say, I do love Gen 2. You know what? It's the only region where they've given us 16 badges, so you've got to give them credit for that. They fit a lot onto a relatively tiny cartridge. But it just makes you think they could do that back then. What could they do nowadays, you know? Sword and Shield, disappointments, you know. But you guys know this. I'm rambling, honestly, because Kanto in these runs has nothing to say. Now, when I'm using weaker Pokemon, which after I do the Eeveelutions, I've intended to do Apom first. Basically, I'll be doing all special ones like that. So, Apom, Gligar, Girafarig, Corsola, which will be rough. But I just want to do all of them first, and then maybe some other ones. Don't say do Abra or stuff like that. I am not spending all that time grinding an Abra using Struggle to get to Goldenrod. You realise how long a Abra run would take? Because you only have Teleport. And you can't learn a TM, I believe, until you get to Goldenrod. I mean, once you get to Goldenrod, it's GG, because you learn Ice Punch, Fire Punch, and Thunder Punch. So you basically kill everything with Abra, because Special in Gen 2 is dependent on type. So, yeah, I'm never doing a run like that, though. But I don't mind doing quirky Pokemon. I might do a Dunsparce run, even though I have quite a low opinion of it. But obviously next I'll have the Jolteon run, which could be tough. Certainly a lot tougher than Vaporeon here. Vaporeon has just blitzed this game. And it's not surprising. I think that hit there on Wheezing really displays how crap my attack is, though. That was a full power return on a Pokemon that is 15... No. Way more than 15, isn't it? That was nearly 20 levels my sort of lower. And Vaporeon couldn't kill it with a return. That's how bad its attack stat is. 61, okay, so it was 25 levels lower, Jesus, and you couldn't kill it in a return. That's really disappointing. But again, surf. Hammering the A button, very hard strategy, you know. It takes a lot of practice to get it down. But yeah, like I said, there's nothing to say about Kanto. I'm just showing it so that you can see that I've one-shot all of these gyms, basically. As I said, when it gets to... I mean, Umbreon's run might be a bit more interesting, because I'll have to use a bit more strategy for Umbreon, because, you know, his attack sucks. So, the Umbreon video will probably end up being the longest one. Because his red strategy... While his red strategy, I'm pretty certain that it will beat it easy. It will probably take the longest. Ah, Blaine. Funnily enough, Blaine actually is a reasonable challenge. Unfortunately, I have a water Pokemon with Surf, so... yeah, it's kind of GG. There's nothing he can really do. But even Blaine, he's only got one level 50. Like, those levels should have been the weakest person in Kanto. And because they've only got 3 or 4 Pokemon as well. I say, I love Gen 2, but there's a lot I'd change about it. Right, we're on to finally a fight that will provide somewhat of a challenge. So, his Pidgeot leads, but we've got Aurora Beam. Funnily enough, the only way you get Ice Beam is to get it tutored, and because I start on a Sunday to get Return and Poliwag, the move tutor doesn't come around till Wednesday, and because I do these in one day, I could change the date, but I can't really be bothered. That's a lot of effort, so I'm just running with Aurora Beam at the minute, but as you can see, that's not really that effective. It's not even one-shotting the Executor, which really left me worried about Venusaur, because that's pretty much the biggest problem that Red has. If his Venusaur basically Solar Beams me twice, I die, and Aurora Beam is not going to do it anywhere near enough to kill him. Thankfully, we have Shadow Ball here, which will one-shot the Alakazam, because Alakazam has crap defense, and it's super effective. Blue's got a good team. I feel like if he was 5 levels higher, it would be a much bigger challenge. He's the only one I'd buff by 5 levels, everybody else would be at least 10. Because he's got a solid team. He's got a very solid team. Sort of mixed types. Very impressive, but there's not much he can do. There's not much anything can do with the Vaporeon, in all honesty, but Red, the problem is Venusaur. I will take one crack at him as soon as I beat Blue. I couldn't honestly see myself beating him at level 64. Just because I could get past Pikachu pretty easy because a Surf will kill it. But it's the Pokemon after that. So here we go, we're going to get our Earth Badge and onto Red after getting a permission slip from Professor Oak to go and have playtime with him. So he sends out his Pikachu as always. And we just surf it. Charm really doesn't bother me, my attack is trash anyway, so I'm really not intending to use it. I didn't actually one-shot Pikachu, which was quite disappointing. I went for the Aurora Beam to save PP, but to be honest, looking back on it, I'm not going to use that many PP anyway in these battles, and that's probably a really dodgy sounding sentence. Also, Pikachu absolutely wrecked us with that Thunderbolt, so yeah, it wasn't going well, and Venusaur comes out, and this isn't going to last long, because Aurora Beam only does about a quarter. So next turn, Solar Beam kills. I have no choice but to go and grind against the Elite Four. So I beat them 3 times and updated my moveset. So we are now running Surf, Toxic, Shadow Ball and Blizzard. Surf just to knock them out. Toxic is there for Snorlax. Shadow Ball is there for Espeon. And Blizzard is there obviously because we need something to kill Venusaur. Now I do need a little bit of luck in the sense that I need Blizzard to hit. And that's basically all I needed. I ground up to level 73. Bear in mind, I'm once again 7 levels short, I believe, of what Flareon was going into this battle. Just showing how much better Vaporeon is for that. So Pikachu was a one-shot. Venusaur we did hit with Blizzard. And it wasn't, unfortunately, a one-shot yet. After seeing that, if I'd failed this time, I'd have ground out and got 2 more levels. Because I would have got to a point where I would have been able to kill with one shot. Shadow Ball next, and that'll one-shot. No, it won't. Wow. Wow, I really did underestimate Espeon's defense combined with my crap attack. So I ended up going for Surf. Which kills. I just took a bit more damage in that fight than I'm comfortable with. Because Snorlax hits like a truck. Now, Snorlax is coming out. We throw a Toxic down immediately to get it poisoned. It's raising its special defense, but to be honest, Surf is still going to be my stronger move. In spite of that. And we do get a lucky crit. So, Body Slam just shows how devastating Snorlax is. But we've got this now, thanks to Toxic. Oh no! I am incorrect. I vastly underestimated how much damage I did there. I thought I knocked him out in that turn. I think I read a couple lines further forward on my script. Because I was supposed to have knocked him out there, but we clearly didn't. We are sort of inching him down. I get another lucky crit. In all honesty, to make this fight consistent, we'd probably need to do another run through of the Elite Four. But with Snorlax down, there's nothing that really scares me. Snorlax can't do that much. I poison him just because it's honestly my best move. So I went with Toxic and I went with Surf just because, again, it's my best move. My attack is trash, so there's no point. We are taking a lot of damage though, which is quite worrying. But one more turn and we'll be on to Charizard after we knock Blastoise out here. So not the hardest red fight, but going in with proper strategy and a reasonable level made that possible. So we'll actually be ending on level 74, so yes, I will be 7 levels lower than when I completed the game with Flareon. So, not bad, not bad, I will certainly take that. It was... Honestly, I had a lot more fun with Flareon. No offense against you, Vaporeon, but Flareon was just a lot more fun to use. I had to use my brain a few times in the Flareon run, whereas in this one, Vaporeon's kind of brain dead, just because it gets Surf so early and Surf is so good. Now, I believe when we hit save, it will be 6:25, which means I saved about 48 minutes. So, Flareon there did very well, but unfortunately Vaporeon has taken the lead by quite a margin. Next up is Jolteon. I'm going to keep this picture here just to put the times on, and then at the end we'll be able to look at them all and just compare them to each other. But yeah, that was Pokemon Crystal with just a Vaporeon. Like I say, fun run, but nowhere near as fun as Vaporeon. I do like these solo runs, so I'm going to keep doing them on a consistent basis. I want to get the Eeveelutions all up before Christmas, and then when I hit New Year, I'll look into other ones to do. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. Do you think Vaporeon will win now, or will one of the 3 remaining Eeveelutions take the crown from it? 6 hours and 25 they have to beat. Can they do it? Find out on a future episode. So thank you all once again, and I will see you next time.